In recent years, it's been hard for me to be a fan of PlayStation, and I'm sure some people feel this way, whether you're a fan of Xbox or Nintendo. Now, I've always had this love-hate relationship with Sony. It started all the way back in 2019, when I started to see what direction Sony wanted to take PlayStation. For many years, I grew up with PlayStation consoles back when they were about variety. Nowadays, it's all about sacrificing the variety for the sake of the big AAA cinematic experiences. The type of quote-unquote games I don't really resonate with. When watching the PS5 reveal event, I really thought with the games they showed off for the PS5, it could have been a successor to the PS2. My all-time favorite console. But boy, I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self how wrong I was. I ended up getting a PS5 in 2021. At the time, I felt it was worth getting it, since two of the games I wanted to get a PS5 for were releasing around that time. My favorite PS5 game, Returnal, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. I was gonna say Kena Bridge of Spirits, but at the time it was already slated for PC. And now it's on Xbox, so I can't really count it. And what do you know? The two reasons I even wanted to get a PS5 for are now on PC, so my reasons are now so redundant. Ever since 2021, there has not been one single PS5 exclusive that's made me say, boy, I'm glad I actually got the PS5. And I already know there's gonna be that one guy in the comment section being like, well, what about Astrobot? I thought you liked platformers, Dreadclaw. Now, I did have a fun time with what I played of Astrobot. It's a pretty decent platformer from PlayStation, since the last time we got any platformer from them. That's not third party. But I didn't really love it like the other platformer or PlayStation fans. I just didn't see it as this 10 out of 10 Game of the Year experience. It just wasn't as exciting like Ratchet & Clank, Sly Cooper, Ape Escape, Little Big Planet, and some of the other PlayStation platformers that they made over the years. But I will say one thing when it comes to Astrobot, the one I really did like the most was Astrobot Rescue Mission back on the PSVR. Now if you're talking about an Astrobot game that I think is a 10 out of 10, that game right there, that's the one. Unlike the one for the PS5. It just didn't really do it for me. Although, I do see where Astrobot excelled at. Being a celebration of PlayStation's history, whether it was the first party or third party IPs that people generally associate with the PlayStation brand. But it's a double-edged sword. If you looked at it from my perspective, on one hand, the game shows all these IPs Sony have made. And on the other hand, you have all these other IPs Sony could do stuff with. To me, Astrobot represents an IP graveyard. IPs they could bring back and do something with, or they could just be like Nintendo and just continue to milk four of the same franchises. Those four franchises consist of one of the most overrated piece of media ever made, The Last of Us, PlayStation's industry plant, Horizon Zero Dawn, Assassin's Creed at Home, better known as Ghost of Tsushima, and lastly in the corner, the boring God of War reboot. The Last of Us at best is just The Walking Dead. It's literally just that, but with uninteresting characters. And do I really need to bring up Abby in terms of like uninteresting characters? Because no one can really say no to some good old golf, am I right? Then you have Horizon's issue, which is, it's just a very bland series. The only redeeming quality is the machine creatures, but outside of that, you got a beautiful looking game with gorgeous graphics, and just like early in the PS5's life cycle, by the way. But then you have the other things, which is a boring story and a very forgettable main character who you can only remember because Sony shoves her down your throat through collabs like Genshin Impact, Fortnite, recently Magic the Gathering, and many more. What also makes Horizon even more guilty of the industry plant claims is all the pointless spin-offs that no one asked for. Looking at you, LEGO Horizon Adventure, a game that's not only unnecessary, but alienates the audience. Yes, it alienates the 5 Horizon Zero Dawn fans. I really don't get why they thought that game would be a good idea. I don't get it. Which is why. But when it comes to God of War, it was a series I was introduced back on the PS3. My first entry being God of War 3. It introduced me to the world of Kratos and his quest to get back at the gods of Olympus who ruined his life. I even went back and played the PSP games that got released for the PS3. I got to see more of Kratos' backstory, and it was truly heartbreaking. Seeing as, of course, nowadays people claim God of War is just all about the violence and some specific minigames, but no, Kratos actually had a very tragic backstory. Just seen, especially from the PSP games alone, it's like, damn, he could have had the chance to see his daughter again, and that was taken away. He had the chance to be with his brother, they took it away from him. It's like, the dude just cannot catch a break. He's just that badly cursed. Now with God of War, it just feels like The Last of Us. To me, I can understand if a studio wanted to try something different with an IP, but when you take away core aspects of what people liked about a series, it gives a mixed signal after all. Did you see either Devil May Cry 5 or Ninja Gaiden turn into the new God of War? No, because Capcom and Team Ninja knew what their audience wanted. They didn't decide to go for this cinematic experience. That's also my other problem with The Last of Us. It generally gave all the PlayStation studios this mindset of like, oh, we gotta cater to this demographic that really likes these highly cinematic experiences. That's another thing when it comes to The Last of Us, generally a problem with. But, I mean, hey, bring up with the God of War, just being very Last of Us like, instead of zombies, you have like the Norse mythology to it, and stuff like a girl, Kratos has a son, to where you can see that kind of comparison and that very similar dynamic. But hey, quote me if I'm wrong. I'm always willing to listen. Now for Ghost of Tsushima, which is the only one I've never played. But I did watch a friend of mine play it on Twitch for the very first time. It just looked like the modern RPG Assassin's Creed games, which the only one I've ever played was Assassin's Creed Mirage, which was like a mix of classic Assassin's Creed and the RPG ones, which I thought was pretty decent. Not as good as like some of the older Assassin's Creed games, but yeah, it was okay. I still gotta go back and finish it a little bit. Yeah. But when watching them play, it didn't seem like they were really that impressed, like how people praise and say it's one of the best games Sony's ever made. And I'm just getting a very weird mixed signal from that. But hey, give it time. Gamers will turn on it, because that's how it be. Gamers are fickle. As well, when it comes to that, I'm sure both the Ghost of Tsushima, I'm sure both the Ghost of games have its fans, but nothing about it really stands out, especially when games like Onimusha and Neo already existed. I wouldn't have a problem with these IPs if Sony didn't put them all on a pedestal, when they have other franchises they could devote time and resources on, instead of just those said 4. But what was it that finally got me to put my foot down and take a stand? Well, remember when I brought up the pointless spin-offs for Horizon? Recently, PlayStation announced some mobile games, and one of them being a Ratchet and Clank hero shooter that somewhat has my attention, giving me some sort of Crash Team Rumble vibes from it. But then, of course, they always have to do this stupid shit. Then you have what was the final straw that broke the camel's back? A Horizon MMORPG. Just like the Lego Horizon game, I ask you, for the love of Pete, who in this world asked for this? Seriously, who asked for it? Really, it's like, again, with the Lego game. Who asked for this? The MMO. Who asked for this? Yet again, PlayStation wasting resources into things no one asked for. But, you know, instead, this time it's not a pointless remaster / remake. We get a MMO for a very bland franchise. At some point next year, I will be getting rid of my PS5, and seeing that new co-op multiplayer shooter from the creator of Left 4 Dead that looks so unoriginal and generic, it doesn't even look like a PS5 game. It looks like the average shooter you would have found on the PS3 and Xbox 360. Gee, no wonder I had no interest in Helldivers to begin with. It's just like, that's why I generally had no interest. That's just how I generally feel about that game as well. And the icing on the cake being Intergalactic, which was the new IP from Naughty Dog that was announced, the final announcement at the Game Awards back in 2024, and boy, no one generally liked that announcement, unless you're somehow a PlayStation fanboy. And, well, seeing how the Game Awards ended 2025, it's not that great either. So far, Jeff Keighley's track record's a little bit... But yeah, that being confirmed to be possibly a 2027 game if they crunch it, and I generally don't like crunch culture when it comes to video games, so you lost me there, Chief, and I was just never really interested to begin with because I don't care about Naughty Dog. I stopped caring after Jak and Daxter. All of this will only make me not miss the PS5. I used to think the PS4 was my least favorite PlayStation console, but at least with the PS4, we still had Japan studios, decent variety, Sony not pumping out all these pointless remasters and remakes. And of course, the PS4 had Bloodborne, one of the critically acclaimed games outside of the Souls games, Dark Souls, Elden Ring. It's still the most beloved one out of the big Souls games. You know, it's something people have been demanding for years to get a sequel or a PC port, which, hey, fans already did that. Or even just something, but no, modern PlayStation has to be the typical modern PlayStation mindset. And give us cash grab remasters and remakes of The Last of Us and Horizon. After Marvel Tolkien and Sorrows come to PC, I won't be bothered to support PlayStation, even though there will more than likely be some exceptions, like the two games I just mentioned. Like, those two I definitely will get, because they actually interest me. Anything else? Probably not. But we'll see. And I won't even get the PlayStation 6, and I can guarantee you that. I will not bother to get that thing. But I just ask you, the PlayStation fans, how pointless will the PlayStation 6 be? Because the PS5 is already claimed to have no games, which I will agree with that to an extent. The only thing they have is Astrobot and the Demon's Souls remake. Which, I mean, even then, you could literally just get a PS3 or emulate the original on a emulator. It's like, those two things, there you go. It really is just astrobot. At least until it probably comes to PC. You never know, because I'm sure they will probably bring that to PC at some point. The PS5 generally has left a sour taste in my mouth, and really made me see for what modern Sony really is. Just another game publisher that has fallen from grace and went corporate, whose only desire is to make multimedia franchises instead of primarily focusing on making good games. But hey, these are just my opinions. If you're someone who's generally excited, you like the PS5, that's cool. More power to you. I'm just saying how I generally feel with the direction Sony has been going on for a while, and I'm not happy with it. I'm not just some random hater. It's like, oh, modern gaming bad, blah blah blah. I'm just saying as somebody who's grown up with PlayStation since the PS1. I generally don't like the direction, so I will vote with my wallet for whatever they do next. But hey, I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know in the comment section below. How do you feel about PlayStation, especially the PS5? Because it's been a tough generation to like PlayStation. But hey, I'm definitely excited for Marvel Tokon. Star Wars is gonna be pretty cool. I'm also hoping that the God of War Metroidvania rumor is true, because if that comes to PC, it'll be one of the exceptions. But it's like outside of those, I'm not gonna bother supporting PlayStation, especially with Intergalactic. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace